Hello everyone. Let's just wait for a few minutes and we will start very shortly. Hello everyone. Let's just wait for Hello everyone. Let's just wait for a few minutes. We'll be starting in about three minutes. All right, just one more minute. One more minute. Okay, just some quick background. Today we're gonna talk about a new feature that we just went live in about a week or 2 weeks ago. It's called Virtual Book, or sometimes for institutional traders, it's for OTC bookkeeping. But for a lot of retail users, it's for simulation, paper trade, the testing strategy, all sorts of things. So, yep. So, as long as you have an account with us, for example, right now we are working with centralized exchange, including Deribit, Bybit, OKX, and then and if you don't have an account with them, or if you want to test out a few strategy that is not using the real money, you can actually do add a new account. And here you can see you can choose between the centralized exchange or the virtual book. And say if you want to test out your strategy in the virtual book, all you need to do is click on this virtual book. Obviously, you need to come up with a name for this one, but let's call it a test. First, we need to actually anchor this book to a centralized exchange. Right now, we only support Deribit, which has probably the best liquidity, but very soon, we will be able to be able to connect to some other exchange, including OKX, Bybit, and for the delivery type, you have to choose auto. So essentially, what we're doing is when you're making order or making trades, you're looking at the order book of the Deribit, and the delivery type or delivery rule will be auto based on Deribit delivery type and delivery rule. So all the settlement, all the margin, everything, it will be based on Deribit. And for this virtual account, you need to first start with a initial deposit, which you can actually modify later on. But let's say I want to create an account with 1 Bitcoin and 10 Ethereum. This is all I need to do, and I can click confirm. It will ask you to upload, some. You'll ask you to upload some historical trade, but usually you don't have to do anything now. Okay, now you can see the virtual book. So in the virtual book, the way we actually make trade is using the smart dealing. So for example, we can see here, if we want to do Ethereum, click on the Ethereum. If you scroll below, you can see in the transaction log, literally just now, we created this account, deposit 10 Ethereum, right? So that's the cash inflow of 10 Ethereum. And say, hey, you know what? I want to actually buy right now, it just had a small dip back to 1900. I want to say, hey, I want to buy a call option for July 28th with strike price of 2,000. Probably 10 units will do. And what kind of price should I choose, right? So if we look at the order book, and if I'm trying to buy a a call option, it seems I can probably get the price between here and here, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna be conservative, say, hey, I need to pay 125 basis point to get this strategy done. So now I select the price. So I click on this, I select the price, I select my quantity, I select my strike price, and my expiration date. Now I can actually book it. So I need to click on it and book it. So you can see it here, it asks you to input your order time. theoretically, you can actually say, hey, I booked this trade last Friday and I want to see how this goes. But let's just say we booked this trade now, which is 9:08 in my local time. And then once I click confirm, this deal is booked. So let's just wait for 30 seconds, a minute here, and hopefully it will pop up in the transaction log and in your position as well. So just hang on 1 second. Okay, now we see this trade, right? So the price is 125 basis point, and then we did 10 quantity, so is 0.12500. So that will be the cost for this strategy, right? And say if I want to do a multi-leg, that's fine too. So let's say if I want to do a Strando, July 21st. Let's just do July 21st. Or 5 units. Let's just do 5 units. 1900. Let's just be conservative. Actually, one on the ask 0, one on the bid 0. Just assuming we'll get the middle of both, right? So overall, let's just book this trade, and once we book this trade, we'll see very shortly on our transaction log and position. Okay, perfect. Now we see all the trades went into our transaction log, and let's see in the position, right? Okay, perfect. So these are, by price, my instruments, and then the quantity, and then there's some basic P&L analysis and some Greeks analysis as well. So more importantly, in our dashboard, we have some other more widgets that help you to understand your total P&L and risk. For example, live risk and P&L attribution, those are the most useful tools for you to understand where you lose money and how you lose money and how can you make more money, right? So we can expand this. We say, okay, now we have 10 or 20 long positions of the Ethereum options, and we can see this is our P&L for the day. We are losing about $9 for the day. How we want to break it down, so we can break it down, say, hey, in cash we are actually making 20 cents because I do have about 9 or let's say 10 Ethereum, right? And then and then that actually helped me to make $0.2, and then we have this call put spread, and that actually, this Strando makes lose about 31 cents. And then on this call option, we're actually losing $1.50. So, and then we can see in gamma, in theta, and in vega, where are we losing and where are we making the most money. And overall, we're losing $7 just because I booked this position or these positions in a very short time frame. So it hasn't really been reflected in the P&L very materially, but a day or two after, you can see a very material difference, and you can test out the strategy and then understand, okay, are we doing a good job in terms of strategy, or is this a bad strategy just because a few of these positions. So actually, right, it gives you a very low cost way for you to test out things that you always been wondering, right? And in a real world environment, because in some other testnet environment, the liquidity may not be reflected based on the real order book, and now we're actually in the smart thing, we're looking at the real world order book, and you are essentially kind of like simulated as a real market participant of these market movement. And then obviously you can understand your risk as well by looking at your risk category. So you will understand how big is your delta. If you only care about your derivatives delta, you can uncheck the include cash. So okay, your delta is 6,000, about 6,600, and then your gamma is 2,600. So you can use these numbers to help you to hedge your positions. Yeah. So that will be the first key functions, and second key function we just developed is called portfolio. So imagine you have three books, right? One is Bybit, one is OK, and one is our virtual book. So for example, you want to understand on an aggregated level, right? Between those exchanges or between these books, what's your aggregated risk and what's your aggregated profitability? We can actually use this function called build a portfolio. So by doing this, you can build a portfolio to include a few of your real books, and then see the aggregated risk and then aggregated profit. And and if you only want to select centralized exchange, that's fine. Say if you have a cross exchange arbitrage strategy, you can actually use this thing just to calculate the aggregated risk, which in a cross exchange arbitrage strategy, the cross exchange aggregated risk should be minimum, right? So once you combine those two, you should see the minimum risk. And then also on the profit level, you are probably gonna make some money in one exchange and lose some money in the other exchange, but you don't care which specific exchange you are losing money or making money. All you care is the total P&L, right? So you can combine all of those and hopefully see the total profit, that how much you're making for this entire arbitrage strategy. But assuming I would like to include my virtual book as well, I want to call this portfolio as aggregated. Once I click confirm, we'll see it here. So now we have a portfolio, include my Bybit, OKX, and Tesla account. And here you can also go to your dashboard. So now we can see all the position that I'm having right now. So right now there are 5 from this task account, 5 from this task account, which is anchored to Deribit. And those actually 1, 2, 3 positions are what we just did. And I have a short position in OKX, and expiring on July 23rd. So this is aggregated position across different books between Bybit, OK, and Tesla account, right? And then on an aggregated level, now I see, okay, I'm only losing 41 cents, and after all the profit and risk are canceling each other, my exposure, as you can see in here, delta is actually minimum, right? So I feel comfortable. Let's just put it this way, right? And if I want to include cash, okay, I'm actually making some money here for the inventory, which is what we created today, or actually previously, and then this is what we created today. So for these position, I lose 14, and for this one, which is my, I'm pretty sure it's cash. Yeah, it's cash. I make $8, right? So this is the 2 key function we just introduced. One is virtual book, one is portfolio. It's very helpful for whoever gonna test out strategy, and it's a very cheap and low, I would say low barrier to entry for you to study options. Yep. Does anyone have any questions, any thoughts? And obviously portfolio is gonna for you to test out your overall performance across different strategies and across different books, which probably is something you care the most, right? Overall, are we making money or not? Okay, if no one has any questions, probably this will be it for our new features. And we do appreciate everyone who is watching or attending, and hopefully you guys will have more chance to play around. Actually, I do have one more thing. So here in the booking history, right? You have all your historical trade. Like here, you can actually modify your historical trade, delete it, edit it, and then see the reflective change in your P&L and risk, just in case you fat finger something, right? But after this, I think again, feel free to play with it. SignalPlus, the trading toolkit, is always free to use. If you're not connected to any exchange, you can still use this kind of virtual book for you to test out your strategy, to learn about options, to learn about strategies, or just for fun, right? Just to play around. But yeah, feel free to ping us in our chat, in our community, and if you have any question, we're more than happy to help you to answer any question you may have. Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone.